part of the empire. You know, Jews in the room would be screaming, some of them, that we're saying this. But we're also saying that Jesus is not anti-Jewish. Jesus, in fact, is doing a renewal of Israel. Now, John just happens to play that up more. And so much of the drama is the face-off between Jesus, and Jesus is the provocateur. He takes it to him. Yeah, I think that's true in Mark too. You know, we think this guy, oh, gentle, meek as a lamb. Oh my goodness. He's really taken it to them in both of those Gospels. And in Matthew, it's also where it's just even the stronger with regard to the Pharisees. Now, Robert, what?
Are you familiar with the controversial book that was published last year, The Invention of the Jews?
The Invention of?
The Invention by Shlomo Sand.
Yeah. Shlomo what? Sand, yes.
Shlomo Sand, yes.
No, yeah. Yeah, not familiar.
No.
Yeah.
You need to.
Yeah, it looks like something I ought to put in
know about that.
my reading list. Okay, so Ann is suggesting that we start to pull together or whatever other things. You know, we obviously haven't dealt with all the things that you all mentioned. We haven't talked about children, although maybe we have in terms of drama and so forth with the gospel story. I'm a big believer in what we used to call them, pageants. You know, big believer in that. Yeah.
Can I ask Zubi to say a little more about how we may be liberated or need to be liberated from theology?
Yeah,
because I'd like to hear just a little.
Good.
I just posed this question because, and I believe in the empire in terms of relativity, uses religion, uses theology to keep in control and use all of these interpretations to, to be convenient to Caesar, to Herod. And so many times I thought, well, we need to disarm the empire from using this issue, but at the same time, we know that we need the social gospel, the theology of the oppressed, to be there, to be comfortable as well, to uplift the people and to seek for justice and to walk in this less traveled road of transformation.
Europeans and then Americans and then, other voices, Tsunami, Palestinians, whatever. The settlement, the colonization of the world, heavily influenced by Bible. Heavily influenced by Bible. Reading what you and I would now consider just tragic mistranslation of what in Hebrew would be those who sit in X city as inhabitants. Those who sit on a throne in X city are not the inhabitants. They're the kings. They're the rulers. And that's who the early Israelites, who are a mixed lot, were struggling against to get back their own land and so forth. But this was read as inhabitants, and guess what? We get the English colonists coming over and slaughtering the inhabitants in North America, and the Spanish in Latin America, and more recent history. So this is just one example of how the Bible has been an imperial document. Now, Europeans and Americans, it's incumbent on us to be cutting through that. Similarly, biblical studies, Ched's urging us all to do some biblical studies and get to the seminary and so forth. But biblical studies itself has been shaped by European imperialism. Goes hand in hand with it, not just the missionaries and the troops, but the biblical studies is a branch of theology. Okay, and then final step, and one of the antidotes to that would be listening to those campesinos, listening to other people's reading of the Bible, listening to women read the Bible and so forth, so that some of our theological education, or whatever it would be keeping our ears open and casting our net more widely, so that we're then becoming self-critical about what we're doing. And finally, I gotta put in one last plug for our villages and so forth. And I think when we read the stuff, when we hear it, we see that this is material that's dealing with real life, with real people in real places, in life circumstances. And for most people in most history, those were village communities. And it isn't by accident then that when Christianity gets going, when the Pauline mission gets going, another mission, what do they do? They form communities. They form ecclesiae. They form communities, except those communities were local chapters into an international alternative society. That's what Paul was doing. An international alternative society based in local ecclesia, local communities, where people took care of each other, including, by the way, economically. It's there. It's there in the text if we just have eyes to see. So we should quit, Ann. Go ahead, Dennis.